On today's show,
we highlight the biggest takeaways from Sunday's James versus James showdown.
in the Bone Zone, Brent Barry joins us to discuss his bold predictions for the final quarter of the season.
And keep your fingers crossed, kid. We'll have a new round of Weekend Whoopsies.
It's Monday, March 2nd. The starters starts now.
Good day, Sweet World, and welcome to the starters. Whether you're joining us live online, you're listening to the podcast, or you're catching us on NBA TV, we're very, very happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
Hey, happy March to you.
To my right, starters blog editor Trey Kirby.
Hey-o.
And finally, international man of mystery, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
Lily. All right, Monday's show, that means Bones is coming through in the Bone Zone to discuss a MVP race and a few of his bold predictions. We'll also have another round of Weekend Whoopsies, but first we're starting with fill in the blank. It's become a bit of a Monday staple. We ask you to play along at home. Jump on Twitter, hashtag the starters, to fill in the blank. The first one, fantastic game between the Cavs and the Rockets on Sunday. Tass, the biggest takeaway from this, let's call it what it is, this epic Cavs-Rockets game was blank.
James Harden is ready for that playoff atmosphere, and we know this is a goal of his because he hasn't had a lot of success with the Houston Rockets in the playoffs. They haven't won a series with him as the number one man. First, the game. It was a playoff-type atmosphere. It was so fun. People on Twitter claiming that this was the game of the year. It was definitely the sort of mano-a-mano game of the year. It was fun seeing James Harden go at Bron go at James Harden, and James Harden got the best of Bron in the end. Bron had some troubles with the free throws. We'll get to that. And then the Houston Rockets backing up their man, saying that there's a new king, King James. There's a new King James. I mean, it's a little much. Let's let him win a playoff series as his own guy first. But at the same time, I do like the assurance of his team backing him up because he needs that going into these playoffs. Again, hasn't won a series as a lead guy. Has underperformed in the playoffs, let's be honest. Last year against the Blazers, Wesley Matthews going at him. He didn't really have a great game until Game 6. And you don't want to be one of those guys that wins MVP and loses in the first round of the playoffs. There's not too many of those guys around. Dirk Nowitzki, Wes Unseld, Moses Malone. So go into the playoffs, and it looks like he's a totally different guy than he was last year.
He looks unstoppable at times right now. I mean, all season long, we, of course, have had him in the MVP race. It's just, what do you do with this guy? Because if you back up too far, he can, of course, hit the three. And if you try and get up on him, he has such great handles. And, of course, attacks nonstop and can take the contact. And then, of course, lives at the line. It's like, I don't really know how you sort of slow down a guy like this.
It's pretty hard. He's probably the best one-on-one player in the league, and that makes him one of the best closers in the game because he's just going to the rim and he has the ball every single time. He's either going to get a shot, he's going to go to the line, or somebody else is getting an open shot. He's second in total clutch points, sixth in effective field goal percentage, and 55%. He's assisting on 55% of the Rockets' field goals in the clutch just because he has the ball and he does everything for him, and you can't ever get the ball away from him.
And then the Rockets want the defense to send a second guy to help. Because that means someone is open at the three-point line and they're going to let those fly.
I have so much respect for him because of the way he continually attacks the paint and gets to the free throw line throughout the game. So many guys settle for jump shots later on. We saw LeBron do that with a potential game-winning shot yesterday. Not that he hasn't earned that over the years of hitting game-winning shots, but James Harden is getting hit so much more this year. Every time he goes in, he seems to end up on his butt. Someone's whacked him in the face. He's getting himself up. His teammates are picking him up. For a guy to still relentlessly attack like that shows how determined he is to take his team over the line and get that win. And we saw that yesterday. It was super impressive.
And it's cool in a year that people said the Houston Rockets lost talent coming into this season because they gave away Chandler Parsons. He left, Jeremy Lin, Omer Asik, all left. That this team is still in the top 2 or 3. And this team maybe has less talent, but is just set up a little bit better for James Harden to succeed with a guy like Trevor Ariza beside him who plays D, a guy beside him and Patrick Beverley who plays D. And he can just do everything on the offensive end. Then again, on the defensive end, he's obviously improved as well.
He has. I asked the question of the task, but Lee, I assume if I asked you the biggest takeaway from this game, you might go with hit your free throws and you win the game. That was a very weird performance from LeBron going 3 for 11.
That was strange for him to miss not only those two at the end, he also missed the two after the flagrant foul call on James Harden. But LeBron, I mean, there's been people saying, oh, he's not clutching that. I mean, that's obviously stupid talk. But yesterday, he didn't deliver when his team needed him to in the end.
And he said the same thing.
But you know what? This is the sort of thing with LeBron. Michael Jordan as well. He missed shots. He just owned up to it, though. This is what I really liked on Instagram.
Michael Jordan didn't do this,
Well, this is a bit weird, I'll tell you that. But the thing is, LeBron's not running from it or anything like that. He's saying, listen, I messed up. I missed
not running from that mirror.
Yeah, he needs to work on his selfie a little bit there too. But
See how the phone is conveniently left out of the photo?
Yeah,
Branding
smart
issues.
right there.
Smart stuff.
but you know, I mean, we talk about this, Tass. You mentioned it's a playoff atmosphere. That was a playoff type performance, and at the end, he missed it. You did not expect LeBron to go 3 for 11 from the free throw line. That was shocking.
Yeah, the worst, at least in terms of free throw percentage for when he shoots over 10
More
in
than
a
10,
game.
yeah.
I mean, that's by far the worst he's ever done at the line. Very, very strange. But fill in the blank, of course, with that very entertaining. If you missed it, go back and watch that one on League Pass if you can. Cavs and the Rockets. Moving on here, Philadelphia 76ers have announced today that they have waived JaVale McGee prior to midnight on March 1st, which means he is now eligible to join up with another team. He could make a postseason run. He won't be mentoring.
Playoff JaVale.
He won't be mentoring those
Hey,
Sixers.
he was good in the playoffs once upon a
That's
time.
true. That's true.
One series.
One series.
A few games of one series.
McGee came over in a deadline
that
day deal.
contract.
He came over in a deadline day deal from the Nuggets, and he was bought out at full price. This man is going to get paid. His 11 plus million, 12 more million next year, so he's still getting his money.
okay.
But fill in the blank. He's laughing at that. Fill in the blank. The GM most likely to call McGee's agent.
Oh, it's the Dallas Mavericks. They love taking on guys that aren't wanted by other teams, and they like implementing guys in the middle of the season. They have a huge hole at the center spot. Ever since they traded Brandon Wright for Rajon Rondo, they've lacked size. And they can tell JaVale McGee, listen, you're playing on the backup as a backup center. Run the floor, catch the ball, dunk the ball, block shots. They miss that length. They are just so small in the front court. He would be a good fit for them.
I buy that. I'm glad you said that as well, because if you've been watching the show for a little while, it's sort of a running theme with Tass and myself, all of us, of the Mavs need a big guy. We, in fact, put together somewhat of a supercut of the Mavs need a big guy. Have a listen.
I mean, think about their front line. It would be Dirk, Tyson Chandler, and then,
Bernard James.
yeah, who would be their third big?
Right.
How about an Emeka Okafor? I'm digging.
I remember that guy.
I love saying his name because he is somewhere, and he is good if he is healthy to be a backup big on
Oh,
that.
definitely.
Where are you, Emeka?
no.
You mentioned Jermaine O'Neal. There's talk about that. I think Emeka Okafor, I think he is a possibility if the man is healthy.
We talked about how thin they are up in the front court. I mean, look, they're contacting Jermaine O'Neal.
Yeah.
I like J.O., but that says everything you need to know about how thin they are.
And they need a center. They don't need a backup power forward. They're small. I don't think there's a point. A J.O., even an Emeka Okafor, it makes more sense to me. Emeka, I want Emeka in this league again.
I know. Maybe a Mecca Okafor.
Maybe
Emeka
Emeka
said he's not playing this year already.
Yeah. Sorry,
reports,
Tass.
reports. Could be a Jermaine O'Neal.
But I go Dallas Mavericks. We all know after trading Brandon Wright, they're good, solid backup big for the Rondo deal, that they're even thinner in the backup front court position. Excuse me, the front court position. It's this cold's got me crazy right now.
I think the Dallas Mavericks are the perfect fit. People talk about whether Rajon Rondo is fitting with the Dallas Mavericks. That's not the problem. He is going to fit in with the Dallas Mavericks. The problem is the bench. They're just so thin. When Tyson Chandler goes to the bench or Dirk goes to the bench, they have got no one. The team drops off exponentially. They just need a big body in there. They are so desperate. It's Jermaine O'Neal or Kevin Garnett's going to come help them out. Rajon Rondo, KG, reunited.
There you go. The Mavs need a big guy,
They
super
still
guy.
need a big guy.
Still do. It's got to be Jermaine O'Neal, Emeka Okafor, or maybe now JaVale McGee.
Yeah.
Those are your three options, according to us, at least. All right, moving on here. One more fill in the blank. Again, play along on Twitter. Guys, according to Chris Dempsey of the Denver Post, the Nuggets are literally counting down to the end of the season. During a fourth quarter huddle in a big loss to the Jazz on Friday, they broke with the phrase, 1, 2, 3, 6 weeks. As in, there are 6 weeks to go until the end of the season. They're literally counting it down. So my question, Tass, fill in the blank. The Nuggets' next chant should be 1, 2, 3, what?
1, 2, 3, I'm playing for you, not for me. Maybe that'll sort of build the team atmosphere in that
Okay.
huddle.
Interesting.
That's all I got.
This season just can't end
What a
quickly
mess.
enough. I mean, this is embarrassing, really, for the organisation that they're saying great, the season's over, we want to get out of here. You want them to at least fight to the end. And when they're having a chant like that that's come out publicly, it makes a bit of a mockery of everything they're doing and what they've done this season.
Especially 2013, they had Coach of the Year, Executive of the Year. They were the third seed in the West. They lost in the first round of the playoffs, and it has all been downhill since then. Like Tass is saying, the coaches don't trust the players don't touch the coaches. It's just a bad news bears.
They haven't won since the All-Star break. They have nearly the worst offense since the All-Star break. They have the worst defense. Yeah, this
that's
is
something.
This is bad. 1998, Nick Van Exel apparently once chanted 1, 2, 3 Cancun.
Yeah.
Looking ahead to the summer, yes. No,
Speaking of Executive of the Year, he's the one who gave JaVale McGee that contract. He gets away with that.
Yeah, he
Masai
does.
Ujiri.
You want to take it back?
No, he deserves it.
We're gonna take a break. Up next, Harden, Curry, LeBron, Westbrook. Who does Brent Barry have as season's MVP? We'll ask him next. Back with the starters into the Bone Zone, joined by two-time NBA champ Brent Barry, wearing a nice shirt.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Very shirt.
My
No, they're not for
Thank
sale,
you.
by the way.
My
Sorry,
shirt
they're not.
matches my mug.
Yeah, look at that.
Is it on that side? Yeah.
Branding, perfect. We're doing it well. Bones, thanks as always.
Yes,
for
nice
coming
to
by.
see you guys.
Want to start with this. Last week, NBA PA Executive Director Michelle Roberts created quite the stir when she said something needs to be done about media members who sort of just hang out during locker room availability. Quote, most of the time I go to the locker room, the players are there, and there are like 8 or 9 reporters just standing there, just staring at them. She had a lot more to say about this. She clarified on Thursday a little bit that she was more concerned about the considerable amount of media members in there and maybe need to look at who's getting credentialed. You, of course, a former NBA player and now part of the media. So
Thank you
maybe,
for that,
Yeah.
Skeets.
Just
Well,
in case people forgot.
I'm interested to hear your take on this.
Yeah,
comments in particular.
Yeah, interesting for her to make those sort of comments, and I bet if you polled every NBA player, they would agree with what she says because
That there are just a lot of people hanging out.
Yeah, the locker room becomes quite congested, and before the game is one thing. Sometimes before the game, it's an issue as well when guys are preparing to go out there and do work. That's their job, that you have to answer questions. There are a lot of guys who don't like to talk to the media before a game gets started, but certainly after the games, there are people in the locker room that you have no clue as to how or why they're in there. And it does become a little bit uncomfortable at times. It's uncomfortable anyway for what it is that you're doing. You're done with playing, you got to shower up, get cleaned up, get dressed in front of people, and then head out. But Michelle makes a very valid point. But what she's talking about really is a responsibility between two parties. The team has a PR guy that's in place there to make sure that whoever's in the locker room is credentialed and is there for a specific reason.
Right.
So the team has responsibility there. And to me, the players have more of a responsibility also to be timely with what it is they need to do. Some guys are working on, well, everybody's working on a deadline to get this story in, and there are players that take a long period of time to get themselves in a position where they're ready to answer any sort of questions from the media. Most of the time, it happens to be a lot of the star players. They take a lot of time getting showered, getting treatment, whatever it is, and that's who the media members are waiting for. So the longer that player takes, the more people congregate in the locker room and sit around and chatter and get in the way of what it is that needs to be done on both ends. Look, writers and media members are not part of the team. I think Webb said something like the beat writers are part of the team. You need to. That's not true. The team is part of the team.
Sure.
They have a job to do, you have a job to do, and so it's a responsibility to both parties. It'll be interesting to see if she talks to Adam Silver as they start to negotiate some things, or with the Players Association about how they can maybe smooth this out and make it a little bit more conducive for both parties.
Did you, and be honest here, did you hate it when you were a
No.
player? You didn't hate
No,
it? You didn't hate the cliches?
No, because I
like going through the motions type question?
No, I understand the job that they have to do, and for the most part, the media did me as well, and I was always available to them. I thought it was fun. I thought it was always interesting to challenge yourself to make quotes interesting, and also have sweet hairdos.
Yeah, nice baggy
Throw back
shirts.
to
I've
Cheryl.
had a different haircut in every one of these clips.
What about the difference though between after a win and after a loss in the locker room?
I think that's what shows your character. I mean, the toughest questions to answer aren't after you just had a 30-point game with 10 assists.
Right.
Although I don't know who I didn't do that, but when you have a big game like that, sure, ask me. I'll stay 15 extra minutes for you to ask me those questions. But after a loss, like we saw LeBron James, that Cavalier game that they lost, he missed 2 critical free throws.
Yeah.
Right away, he's sitting at the chair, immediately available after the game. The emotion's still on his face. You can hear it in his voice. And he's saying, look, I tricked the game off. I missed 2 free throws.
Yep.
This one's on me. Perfect. Media gets what they need. LeBron talks and faces the scrum.
Right.
And then you move on, you get ready for the next game.
Right. He's even on record, actually, sort of disagreeing with her comments, saying, this is a part of it. This
Yeah.
is a part of it. You got to sit down.
But I think what Michelle's really worried about, Skeets, is the fact that you walk in and there's 15 guys chilling out in there
Yeah.
with a cup of coffee, talking to one another. You don't know who they're affiliated with.
Right.
They're in the way. The players are winding their way through the locker room to get in and around them to get to their lockers. And that's the sort of environment that really she's wanting to address. Not so much what the players are doing, but what the media is doing there. If you're not asking questions or you're not waiting specifically to talk to somebody, you are in fact in the way.
You're in the way.
And I'm sure all the players appreciate the position that she's taking.
Definitely.
I absolutely.
Right off the bat, they feel like she has
Absolutely.
their back.
No question about that, Task. There's no doubt that her saying that, the guys immediately go, oh, you mean no more silly questions from media, or we can avoid those? Great.
Right.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah. Well, one more thing here, Bones, before I let you go. Last week, we did a couple bold predictions for an Inside the NBA bit. One of them in particular, where we're saying that this is going to be the tightest MVP race of all time. Harden, Curry, here comes LeBron, here comes Westbrook.
Yep.
Still 6 weeks to go. The Denver Nuggets are counting it down in the season. Who is your
So bad.
MVP, though? If you had a vote, I don't think, do you have a vote?
No.
Okay,
I don't.
we'll talk to some people about that.
Yeah, thank
If you had it, though, who are you giving it to?
I still lean towards what Steph Curry's doing at Golden State. That's where I'd lean. And James Harden is continuing to impress me because I thought at some point James would tail off. Steph continues to impress with the way that he's approaching the game. There are games now where I watch Steph Curry play in a way where mentally he's approaching it, where he knows in a 5-minute stretch how he can impact the game and take it over. James Harden's doing it in such a different way because without Dwight Howard, he's having to put his imprint in every quarter as to how the Rockets are going to either stay close or how they're going to get the lead or how he needs to get in attack mode to put guys in foul trouble and make defenses play on the heels. So it's so fun to watch the two of these guys play the game within the game on a nightly basis.
There you go. You say Curry right now. Let's hear what you guys think. Jump on Twitter, #TheStarters. I think we're going to be having this conversation for the next 6 weeks.
Hopefully the media will ask them many questions about the MVP race.
Talk
Talk
hope
about
so.
the MVP race.
Let's go to the locker room. Just stand around. I'd love to have a cup of
just chill,
coffee.
huh?
Yeah, just chill. Bones, thanks as always, bud.
Yep, you got it, guys.
Gotta take a break. When we return, Kirk Heinrich goes a little dizzy
Whoopsie!
in a new edition of Weekend Whoopsies. Back to the starters in 2. The starters, let's get to the Weekend Whoopsies.
Alexei Shved of the New York Knicks does something that has never been seen before.
Is that a pass or a shot?
That's a
This
shot.
was called a shot. I checked out the box score in multiple locations. It wasn't a turnover, it was a shot.
Whoopsie of the year.
Saturday, DeMar DeRozan on the fast break. All right, throw it down. No props needed. Oh, blows the 360 dunk attempt badly.
Almost.
Almost that when the Raps are playing the way they are at the moment.
Heat's Mario Chalmers steps out of bounds. His coach, Eric Spoelstra's reaction. I just gotta let that go. I just can't get rid of that feeling in my neck.
That one hurt. Sunday, Kirk Heinrich makes us all a little dizzy here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. What is he doing?
I don't know. Needed maybe 1 or 2 more fakes, I would think.
That is
Oh, a
amazing.
triple axle here. Get your heart out, Brian Botello. Look at this. Look at this.
The Heinrich maneuver is the great
Yeah,
stuff. Great call.
Oh, man.
Here we got Robin Lopez and LaMarcus Aldridge battling each other for the rebound. Fortunately, goes awry, but hey, they still love each other.
Hug it up.
Buds.
Robin Lopez is then bothered by Slamson, the mascot. As Robin Lopez said during the interview, what are you trying to get your 15 seconds of fame? Get out of here.
He's always getting into it with the mascots.
That's Robin's thing.
His mascot nemesis, Hooper, gets screened super hard here from Cole Aldridge. Down he goes.
Wow.
Nice.
No flagrant called on the play, but
Switching.
he would have the last laugh getting Sir Langston Galloway there. Pantsed him.
And then the walk up.
Yeah, and then-
Bieber stare down.
Yep.
Nikola Mirotic on Sunday just wants to shoot a free throw, but Joey Crawford wants some shine during this nationally televised game.
Yep.
Jumping in there.
Look at the hustle.
Yeah, I know. Look at Dante Jones loving it on the bench. Great stuff. Flashback 2012, the best stoppage of a free throw attempt by a ref ever. Courtney
Oh,
Kirkland.
yeah. Oh, he fouled him on that one.
He almost thwarts Chris Humphries in the face. I mean, he goes way
Look at
at
his hustle. Oh, yeah.
Oh, he wanted Humphries to shoot that.
We have a new All-Star Weekend event.
Yeah, referee game.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So a good round of Weekend Whoopsies, and We unfortunately didn't have a wedgie task, but the next best thing, I guess, the ledgie.
We had a wedgie.
Yeah.
No wedgie, but Ersan Ilyasova chucked one up, hit rim, and went over the backboard. Now, Trevor Booker's going to come in. You remember Trevor Booker? Had the craziest shot of the year.
Yeah,
he
the
could
tip
do that,
shot.
but he can't pop a ledgie out.
There you go.
There he goes. That worked out.
Yes, good fist pump.
So we don't put this under the official ruling of a wedgie, do we?
No.
Second Leggy of the year, though.
Yeah.
We haven't had a wedgie since February 21st, since Psycho T on that dunk attempt. So it's been a long,
It'll come.
long time. Yeah, it will come. We can only pray. All right, unleash the unicorn. Seeing as it's Monday, we've got the pickups of the week presented by the General Insurance. Lee, it's getting to be crunch time here in fantasy basketball. You got some pickups for the people.
I sure do. Ben McLemore has been scoring pretty consistently of late. He'll give you a couple of threes, and his percentages aren't too bad. He injured himself last night, but he's not expected to miss any time. Since the All-Star break, Jeremy Lin is averaging 17 points and 5 assists and hardly turning it over also. Grab him if he's available. But Andrea Bargnani is the guy to grab right now. Also
serious?
since the All-Star
Awesome,
break,
man.
averaging 17 points, 6 rebounds. He's also making 5 free throws a game, which is huge for him.
Yeah.
He's not really knocking down the three-pointer, so I guess he's giving a little back there. But he seems to be finally healthy, and it's the Knicks, so he should play heavy minutes down the stretch.
He's the #1 option on offense.
Exactly. So he had 25 and 12 the other night, so you may as well grab him if he's available.
Contract year.
Big Tizo. It is.
The big Tizo is right. All right, final break. When we return, God bless the Portland Trailblazers. Friday night's pick 'em payoff results when we come back. Back at the starters, a look at Friday night's pick 'em payoff results. I squeaked it out. Despite going 2-3, God bless the Portland Trailblazers. They get the win. Tass nearly did it on the last night of February, but I get the win. That's 3 months in a row, which means tomorrow, Puppet Tass will be hosting the show.
Those results just make me want to eat.
Yeah.
And
Do you have a voice that you're
I'm going to
thinking
save
of?
it for tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
going to clean my beard right
Save it for tomorrow. We'll start a new month. We'll make our picks, and we'll look at those tomorrow. We have some bad news from the Chicago Bulls camp. The bad news just keeps on coming. They announced that the MRI of Jimmy Butler confirmed a ligament sprain and small bone impaction injury to his left elbow. He did this on Sunday there. You see running into the screen. It's estimated he's going to miss 3 to 6 weeks. Now, fortunately, surgery will not be required. Trey, I know you're upset right now as a Bulls fan.
Yeah,
Keep
they're going to
dropping
have to
like
start
flies.
the Jordan statue eventually at guard.
Yeah,
That's how bad it is.
It's bad right now. I'm sure we'll have a lot more to say about this on tomorrow's show. But Lee, let's get to the very solid play of the night.
Well, we're staying in Chicago. I've got a consolation prize here for you, Trey. I hope this helps. It's a little boomerang play from Nikola Mirotic here. Snelly Cat gets involved. Jono with a beautiful feed over. Mirotic finishes with the layup.
That's nice.
And one. You know I love
I feel a lot better now. Thanks, Lee.
Oh, he learned that spin move from Heinrich.
Beautiful finish, and that's what I call a very solid play.
So there you go. There's Monday's show. We'll be back tomorrow. Tass co-hosting the starters as Puppet Tass.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. And remember, pets have nationalities too. Bye for now.
Race the night, people. Oh, there's the voice.